All right, so we're going to talk about rates, ratios, and unit rates. Let's talk about some vocabulary first. So ratios are a comparison of two values. Oh man, I spelled that all sorts wrong. Sorry. Three ways to write ratios are using the word to and writing them using a colon or writing them as a fraction. And we are most commonly going to see them written as a fraction. A rate is a ratio in which the compared values have different units. So when you're comparing like apples and oranges or bananas and pineapples, I don't know. Now specifically, a unit rate is a rate in which the denominator, aka the bottom part, has a value of 1. Okay, so we're most commonly going to deal with unit rates, but there's different types of things happening. Okay, so let's look at some of the examples first. We want to write it as a ratio, which again, we either use the word to, colon, or fraction. So we're going to write them as a fraction just because it's a far better way to understand what's happening. Okay, so it costs $2 to buy 12 eggs, and we want eggs to dollars. So we want eggs to dollars. So we want eggs over dollars. So we buy 12 eggs for $2. And that's our ratio. If it asked us to write a unit rate, then we would simplify our fraction. But just because it's a ratio, we can leave it like that. Remember, we could write ratios as 12 to 2 or 12 to 2. Okay, but I think it's more clear if you write it as a fraction because then you know what's really happening. Okay. I want you to try B on your own. So it's inches to hours. Inches to hours. Okay, so write your rate out right now. All right, so we want inches to hours, so 26 inches over 7 hours. All right, try C, it's two parts. First, they want miles to hours, and then they want hours per mile. Okay, so take a couple seconds and try that on your own. All right, so we have two different ratios. We have miles to hours, so 300 over 6, and then hours to miles, 6 over 300. So this next part says find the unit rate, okay? So that means after we write the ratio, we want to simplify it. So they can type 60 characters in 30 seconds. So what's characters to seconds, okay? So characters over seconds. So let's write that out. Characters. I always write my labels out first, just so I know that I got it in the right order. So seconds are 30 seconds, and I'm going to abbreviate seconds. And then 60 characters, also going to abbreviate. And how do we simplify? What is 60 over 30? 60 divided by 30 simplifies to 2 characters for 1 second. So we're saying it's 2 characters per second. Okay, so what we did last time, we stopped here, right? In the last couple of examples, we stopped there. But because it's the unit rate, we need to keep on going all the way until we get a simplified, so we get a denominator of 1. Okay. So I want you to try B. Try B right now for me. All right, so we want how far can you walk in 1 hour? So we have to do mile per hour. So we do 3/4 over 2/5. Now divide those in your calculator, okay? Because that's what that fraction bar means. So take a moment and divide them. Convert it to a fraction if you need to, because we want to leave it in fraction form. When I divided them, I got 1 7/8 mile per 1 hour. So we're just going to write that out. 1 7/8 miles per hour. Okay. So then the next set is comparing two things. So we have honey lemon cough drops, and then we have cherry cough drops, and we want to find the unit rate of each. So here's my suggestion. You want drops per ounce. And I know that because it says drops per ounce. Okay. So, and I would compare the two and then figure out which is the better deal. So we'll talk about that, but just find the unit rate for honey and cherry. So honey lemon, and then find it for cherry. Okay. And we will compare them. So drops over ounce for both. Take a moment, find those unit rates. All right, so if we look at these, honey lemon is 3 drops per ounce and cherry is 4 drops per ounce. If I want the better deal, which one am I getting more out of? Well, I'm getting more out of the cherry, right? Because it has more per ounce. So cherry, because it gives us more drops per ounce. As it gives us, that's an E, gives us, yeah. Okay, so that was the first part. So now we're on to the back page. So if you need to pause it now, but otherwise we're gonna keep on going. All right, so we have a graph now, still finding the unit rate. So Sylvia hiked the Appalachian Trail over an extended holiday weekend. She wants to determine what her unit rate of miles per hour. So we have miles on this side, and we have hours on the bottom. So we want the steps are to pick a point on the graph that falls on the line. So we have this blue line here. We have this blue line, right? And then we had dots on it that were here, here, and here. So you're gonna pick one of those points. If we're being honest, I always pick the one closest to the bottom. So I'm gonna pick this one. Okay. Yeah. So pick a point. So how we write it is x comma y. X is this number, y is this number. So my x is 5. So it's 5 comma. I don't have a number here, but what's right in the middle of 4 and 8? Hopefully you know it's 6. So it's 5 comma 6. And that's x comma y. Now we want to set up our x over comma y as y over x. So remember, this was y, this was x. So now we want to write it as y 6 over 5 as a fraction. So there's our ratio. Now we want to simplify our 6 over 5. And I'm going to label that 6 miles and 5 hours. I got that because this is time and this is distance. Okay. So we want to simplify that for it to become a unit rate. Okay, and then label our answer. So 6 over 5, 6 divided by 5, if you leave it as a decimal, becomes 1.2 miles in 1 hour. Okay. Okay. So take a moment to write all that down, but we're going to keep on going to the table. So Nate's family drove to Disney World. Table shows the number of hours they drove and the total distance they were from home. And at what speed did they drive? aka miles per hour. So miles goes on top. So since on top is y over x, then I know my distance is my y and my time is my x. And if we're being honest, that's just normally how graphs go. The first one's x, second one's y. So we're going to choose a value of rows. This is just like choosing the points, one of those 3 points. We can choose one of those 4 numbers. I just choose the smallest numbers generally. So we're going to do 2, 90. And we want to set it up as a fraction as y over x, aka inward order, miles per hour. So miles then hours, right? So we really want miles over hours. So we're going 90 miles in 2 hours. And then we want to simplify that. 90 over 2 becomes what? 90 divided by 2 is 45 over 1. And then we have to label that 45 miles in 1 hour. Okay, so now that I've showed you an example of both, I want you to try to find the unit rate for each problem. Okay, remember it's y over x. Here's your x, here's your y. This is x, this is y. Okay, so take a moment and find those right now. All right, so here we go. We get, for the first one, you had to choose one of the 5 points. I again just chose the first one. And it's y over x. So it'd be $15 over 10 square feet. Okay, so simplify that to $1.50 per 1 square foot. Second one, you would choose any row values. I chose the first one. So it's y over x, so 6 over 2 becomes 3 over 1. All right, so make sure you ask questions.